Hi everyone, it's Jackie Folks with Awesome Talk. Thank you for joining us today for this video. Today I decided to do a record and upload over the topic of guardianship. Guardianship is definitely a topic that none of us want to deal with, but unfortunately a lot of us have to. We did reach a point in our son's life where we had to seek guardianship. It was definitely in the best interest of our child. We tried everything we could to get him to where he didn't need guardianship, but it became evident probably when he was around 17 that it was probably going to happen. We let him go a little while into 18 without seeking it, but then we just decided that it needed to happen. So I just want to go over with you some of the things that we went through along the way, and hopefully these tips will help you. I will tell you, save every document that you get from any doctor, any hospital, any therapist, any teacher, anybody that has to do with your child's diagnosis. We took with us and were able to make copies and provide for the lawyer Ethan's original diagnosis letter. Those of you who have followed me know that 10 years after that, I had my son tested again. So at 13, I had him tested again, just so that I had a document that said, yes, he still has autism. That is not necessary, you guys. I just did it for me because I'm a paperwork person, and I loved to have that assurance that 10 years later, yes, he still had autism. And then even for us, when they changed the standard and went to diagnosing at levels 1, 2, and 3, which didn't match in either of his first two letters, I had him evaluated again so that we could have a document that said Ethan has autism at this level. So that was extremely helpful for us. We also took his IQ testing. I had my son IQ tested on our own, and we did not go through this school, but I knew that it was something that in the future would help him if he was in the ID, which is intellectual deficiencies, which was formerly known as MR. But if he was in that category, it would help him for Social Security, it would help him for long-term disability and guardianship should we have to seek it. So I had our diagnosis letters, I had his IQ testing, I had a letter from his doctor, I had another letter from his doctor, I had his NDSP evaluation, and then I just kind of took along a couple of examples of IEPs and levels of supports that he had had throughout the years. We decided to seek guardianship after my son was 18 and after we filed for Social Security. We just did that because we knew that if he filed for Social Security, was approved, was appointed a representative payee, that all of these things would also help him in the step for guardianship, because it would show a need. And when you go through the process for Social Security, oftentimes you have to see a developmental doctor that's appointed by the state. And so, there's my cat. So we had that evaluation as well, which was extremely helpful. So those are the documents that we had. If you do not have these documents, I strongly recommend that you start contacting your son or daughter's doctors, anywhere that you have been, and get copies of those documents and build a file. It is never too early to start planning for their long-term future. And even if you are holding out hope, hope is a great thing to have. I had hope for all those years. I was still prepared for the fact that he might need the guardianship, and then when the time came, I had the documents I needed. So start building a file now, keep them in a safe and secure place, because you never know if you're going to need them in the future. So once we had our documents and we were moving forward, it was time to reach out to an attorney. So we had an attorney that represents us. And then we learned through her that my son also needed an attorney to represent him. And I know a lot of people who are displeased with that, because then you're paying two sets of legal fees, which it is expensive, it's costly, but remember, it's your son or daughter's future, so it's worth it. What I liked about it was it gave my son Ethan dignity in the process, that he had representation of his own. He had a voice in the process. We had an extremely, extremely compassionate lawyer that was assigned to him, and it just made things go very well. And throughout the process, like I said, Ethan felt like he had a voice and dignity. So we go and we file for guardianship. We also filed for standby guardianship, because God forbid something happens to my husband and I at the same time, what's going to happen to my son? So we spoke to our other adult child and talked to him about the process and what it would mean for him in his life if something happened, and he was okay with taking on this responsibility. So we have guardianship and standby guardianship established. We've met with the lawyers, everybody was on page. And the next step was to then have Ethan evaluated through a doctor using evaluation forms from the courts that was then later turned in, that went with our other doctor's records. So that was done, and then it was time to file. And for us, it was extremely easy because Ethan did not oppose to the appointment of guardianship. He approved of it. We talked to him about whether or not he understood what it meant, and that we were only doing it to help him and to not hurt him, and that he would still have a say in his life. So he actually went with it. He told his lawyer he was comfortable with it. So they were able to just file and go through the courts. I know there are cases where the child will say they're not comfortable and you end up having to go to court. That was just not what happened in our case. So we had a very easy process. But the point of this video is to help you be prepared, get those documents, so it's one less thing to worry about, because it is a very sad process. As a parent, it's heartbreaking, you know, to say my child can't do it, and my child can't do it without help, and you're going to the courts and you're seeking legal guardianship. And you know, we cried, and my husband and I leaned on each other, and you have to do that. You have to allow yourself to feel. It's almost like another loss. If you are on this journey with me, then you remember what it felt like when your kid got diagnosed, and then it's almost similar when you're seeking guardianship. So having all that other stuff ready to go will allow you to sit back and really digest the process, which is what my hope of this video will do for you, is to go into it prepared. Feel free to ask me any questions. I love questions from my followers, and I answer them to the best of my ability. Sometimes they're overwhelming, but leave a comment below, shoot me a message through my inbox, and remember to like and follow our page. And if you want to be part of those live conversations that we have, remember to go into our page and turn on that you want to receive live notifications. So thanks, guys. I hope that this video helped you. Talk to you later. Bye.